Part 3 of our build. Well, in this video we're going to talk about tire selection and tire truing. I think one of the most important things you need to know when you're visiting a track or going to race on a different track than your own is to know what is the best tire for that track. In the Austin Slot Car Club Tracks case, the best tire is the F30 by Slot.it, part number PT28. Okay, those are the tires I'm going to be using. I could use the stock front tires for the front wheels, but I'm going to go with the zero grips, also from Slot.it. These ones right here are 19 by 10, part number PT07. Okay. Why do you want true tires? Well, you want them round, right? That is the concept. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about these tires right here. Let me sleep on these guys first. These are the front wheels. There we go. These zero grip tires, they are very well. First of all, I'm working the tire around the wheel, make sure it sits properly. Just got a cricket here. Let me get the second one. Okay. I do not glue the tires. They seem to stay very well on these size of wheels. No need to glue them. We're going to be talking a little bit about rear wheel RPM in the next video. But basically, if you stay under 9,000 RPM, I have never seen a tire being thrown out. Okay. All right, these tires right here are 10 millimeters wide. The wheels are 11 because they're GT wheels. It would be nice if Slot.it would make this F30 tires on 11 millimeters wide, but they don't, so I'm gonna use these, and you're going to see that they are a little, too small for these wheels right here. I'm also these tires, they have one of the walls does not have anything written on it, and the other one has the Slot.it brand and tire compound written on it. When you're using on large 11 millimeters wide wheels, you want to install the tire with the Slot.it brand and tire compound facing the outside. Why? Because this way the outside of the tire looks proper. Okay, now the inside is the part that's going to be showing a little bit of a hub because these tires are not wide enough. Alright, so that's that for the tires. F30s on the rears, zero grips on the front. Let's talk a little bit about tire truers. Tire truers are, there are different manufacturers, different styles of tire truers out there, but they're basically the same thing. You have your sending drum, which is probably going to be spinning. You have your tire carrier with your axle, which you're going to put your wheel on, and this little adjusting knob brings the wheel either close or far away from the sending drum. You're also going to have a depth screw. This right here, what you do is, let's say you bring it out when you're starting to throw a tire. As soon as you're done with that tire, you screw this depth screw until it reaches the stopping point, which is where this carrier does not travel closer to the sending drum. By doing this, your next tire is going to have the same diameter as the first one you just did. Alright, so if you're a club member, well, first of all, let me congratulate you for being a part of the, best slot car club in the United States. Alright, all jokes aside. If you're a club member, the club has a hoodie tour, and you're welcome to use it anytime. The hoodie tour works best at 4 volts. This one here is a different, completely different animal. I'm gonna be running at 16 volts. Okay. So let me get the first wheel in here. Start turning this wheel, and I'll show you guys what you need to look for when throwing a wheel. Be right back. Alright, I'm ready to start throwing. Power supply is on. I have my depth screw all the way out. I turn it on and start bringing this wheel closer to the sending drum. When I'm throwing tires, I like to hear what's happening. Okay. I'm looking for a very faint little, sound of the tire hitting the sending drum. Can you guys hear that? Sure hope so. This is as, how can I say this? This is as loud as I want to go. If I push this tire, if I put too much pressure from the tire to the drum, what's going to happen is you're going to heat up the tire. The tire is going to start to blister. From then on, it's going to melt, and you're going to destroy that set. So you have to go really slow, applying very little pressure and taking very little material at a time. Okay, so that's the way I do it. I listen to the tire tour. There's a second way to do this, which is you bring your wheel carrier away from the sending drum, and you turn your tire tour on. Hopefully your power supply is going to have an amperage meter built in. Mine does. So right now, without the extra load of the tire hitting the sending drum, my tire tour is drawing 0.4 amps from the power supply. Okay. As I bring the tire close to the sending drum, I'm going to be adding load to this motor, and that motor is going to draw more amps. So what's going to happen here, I have a 0.4 without no load. I'm going to go up to 0.5, and that is as much as I want to draw. You go in increments of 100 milliamps and you should be okay. I'm on 500 right now for 0.5 amps. What I'm going to do is let the sending drum remove the material from the tire until it goes back to 0.4 amps. When that happens, which just did, I'm gonna bring the tire a little closer to the sending drum. I got 0.5 again, and you keep doing that until the entire surface has the same level. How are you gonna know when you have the entire surface at the same level? Well, let's take a look at this tire right here. Hope you guys can see this little strip right here, which is still shiny, and you can see from here on it's already to show some grain from the sending drum. When the entire circumference of the tire looks like this, that basically means that it's all on the same level. Okay, that's what you're going to look for. So what I'm going to continue doing here is I'm going to continue throwing this tire until the entire surface looks, has the little grain kind of opaque look to it. And we'll be back so I can show you how to set up your dap screw. Okay, the entire circumference of my tire is at the same level. I can see all around the tire. I can see the grain from the sanding drum, and it looks opaque all the way around. Okay, I have not yet set my DAP screw. This is what I'm gonna do now. So you have this, you just finished the first wheel. Don't touch your knob settings or the carrier knob adjustment. Right now I'm screwing my my DAP screw. It has just touched the stopping point. Okay, what you're gonna do right now is gonna turn your truer back on, and you're gonna use your adjustment knob to push this tire carrier as close as you can to the sanding drum, and you're gonna let the tire finish at that point. Okay, this is the proper way to set your DAP screw in order to have your second tire be the same diameter as the first. So right now I'm just looking at my power supply. It's still reading 0.5 amps. I'm gonna let it drop to 0.4. It just did. I can still hear a little bit of the tire touching the sanding drum. I'm gonna call this a good true tire. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see the difference. See that little bit of grain, kind of a sanding drum markings on that tire, and this one is still shiny and kind of smooth. This is the new tire. So to get rid of this grain, there's a little trick you can do. You need lighter fluid and a rag. Okay, you're gonna wrap this rag around your finger. You're gonna douse it with lighter fluid. Turn back with the tire away from the drum. Turn your truer back on, and you're gonna start working from one side to the other. If the tire starts tugging on the cloth, add some more lighter fluid and go back again. You can also work your corners. This lighter fluid will soften the tire a little bit so you can round those corners really well. At least on this F30 compound you can do that. I'm actually applying a little bit of pressure, not too much. You can tell if you're applying too much pressure because the tire is going to starts to slow the speed on the tire here. Also, if you apply too much pressure, you might put a concave area on that tire, so you want to be careful about this. So I'm working the tire from one side to the other, working this central area here. Let's take a look. That looks a lot better. I think a little bit more. And this tire will be super slick on a good way. Try it up again. Alright, there you go, guys. That is one finished tire right there. Okay, I'm gonna finish the second, put it on the side, and start working on the front wheels, and we'll get back with you. Well, I got the second tire here on the way. Second rear tire on their way. One thing I forgot to mention is that by using lighter fluid in your tire, it's softening the outer surface of the tire. It's not going to change the how soft or how hard your tire is. It's gonna dry up really quick, and well, just in case you were concerned that okay, it's just gonna soften it too much, it's gonna at some point, you know, destroy the tire or something like that. That's not the case. I'm gonna finish with these tires and start on the front ones. Well, at this point I've started with my first front wheel. Here are the two rear wheels already. One thing that I wanted to show you is that the front wheels, first of all, they're the zero grip tires are a lot more forgiving than the F30s when it comes to truing. They won't melt as easy, or I haven't actually seen them melt. But they come with really square corners. So if you want to round those corners, just get a little emery board and start working on the corners. Okay, this takes a while, but this is the way I do it. Here are the 4 tires. I finished truing all of them. As you can see, the front tires have a lower profile than the rear tires. I would say that rounding the corners on the front tires is not really an important step. I do it mostly for aesthetics. Look like a proper tire on the wheel. The front tires don't slide as much as the rear tires. On the rear tires, I believe it's pretty important to have round corners, because as you're sliding on the track, which might happen, let's say you slide over the next lane slot. If your tires are squared, you might get caught in that slot and flip the car. So having them round will definitely help. This is it, guys. To the next part.